Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Crystal Kennedy, and this is the show where we bring you the day's biggest movie news and, of course, insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Senior Editor, Mr. John Campia.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Hey, listen, before we do anything else today, I got to share this with you. The other day on the show, we talked about possibly a V remake into a movie, and I said it'd be too much like Independence Day, and I said, hey, somebody make up a poster, a fake Independence Day versus V poster. We got a couple, but I got to share this one from John Mattinson. Sent this one in. I think this one looks amazing. Look at the detail on this. I mean, it looks like a real movie poster, the way the V is in there. Good stuff, Mattinson. Good job. Thank you so much for sending that in. And good morning, Crystal Lee.
Good morning, John. We also have special guest in the studio today, Mr. Dan Deevy from thecinemassource.com.
Hey, everybody. How are you guys doing? It's good to be back.
We are doing good, and today we're going to get started with this. In case you didn't know, Pirates of the Caribbean 5 is on its way to AMC theaters everywhere on July 10th, 2015. Johnny Depp is already confirmed to return, and now the hunt is on for a new director. Rumors are now circulating that Disney has a shortlist they're considering for the director's chair. That includes Frederick Bond, the directing duo Joachim Roning and Espen Sandberg, and Snow White and the Huntsman's Rupert Sanders. The film is set to go into production near the end of 2013, but Disney wants a director attached within the next few weeks. John, do you think any of these names jump out at you?
I think this is a really interesting list. Mm-hmm. This is like the directors of Kon-Tiki and stuff like that. That's a really interesting list. I do, however, like the name, I got to admit, of Rupert Sanders. When you look at a film now, love or hate Snow White and the Huntsman, and I wasn't a big fan of Snow White and the Huntsman. I didn't hate it. You can see the tone is there. You can see what they're going for, and I think that kind of gives him a leg up on all this. Now, I'm sure part of his contract negotiations are how many of the stars on his film does he get to sleep with?
Wow.
I don't know where that came from. But I actually think, while I do believe that both Bond and Sandberg and Roning would be decent choices, I do think that Rupert is probably the way to go. So, Dan, what do you think?
You stole my joke. That was going to be my joke. It was so obvious. I figured you'd leave it for me.
Oh, boy.
Oh, good Lord. I can't believe that they're making another Pirates movie. I mean, the last one with the mermaids, that was just I mean, what's going on? Can these movies, John, this is a serious question I have for you.
All right.
Can these franchises ever just end? Can they ever just say, you know what, we did a great job, let's move on to something else. Let's not reboot it. Let's just leave it alone.
Well, the problem is, and I'm with you. I mean, the last one was bad. Although I will say, I did think Pirates of the Caribbean 4 was probably the quote-unquote best one since Pirates of the Caribbean 1. I think that all the ones after 1 I think have been terrible. I love the first one so much, and I just think they've gone downhill since. But number 4 was better than 2 and 3, I think, at any rate.
So basically, we'd have to wait till 7 for it to be good again.
Yeah, maybe. Is that the pattern? Probably. They're slowly ramping up now. The problem is that the audience keeps telling Disney or studios, we want more. How do they tell them that? By spending their money to go see them. And when they spend the money, that is the audience saying, we want more. And, studios are a business, and they'll go, okay, if the audience is saying this is what you want, then this is what we're going to give you. And until, a Pirates of the Caribbean movie flops, they're going to keep cranking these out, man.
Well, if it's got to happen, then I think I should be the director. Let's make something good.
I will let us start the campaign right
yes!
now. Right now. Dan Deevy for Pirates of the Caribbean 6.
Yes.
No offense, but I vote Rupert Sanders.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry.
Great.
A little while ago, we mentioned that acclaimed director Gus Van Sant was lobbying to get the directing gig for the upcoming adaptation of the hit novel series 50 Shades of Grey. However, if rumors are to be believed, it seems Universal is looking at Joe Wright instead. Wright is best known for his films Atonement, Pride and Prejudice, and Anna Karenina. Dan, what's your reaction of the idea of Joe Wright directing 50 Shades of Grey?
Well, I mean, I haven't read 50 Shades of Grey, which I don't think comes as a big surprise, but there's a whole lot of nasty, girly sex stuff that happens in those novels,
what
right?
Is girly sex
like
stuff?
I'm
curious.
Just stuff that maybe housewives don't want to admit that they do.
Okay, I get you.
Scandalous. That's a better word. Scandalous.
There you go.
Women's sex, and I think the only person qualified to tell that type of story is a gay director. So I think it should be Gus Van Sant because I think he'll be able to, ironically, bring that to the screen better than anybody else.
My same reaction that I had with Gus Van Sant holds true. Look, when Gus Van Sant came out and said that he was lobbying to get this job. Remember, all of us thought that this 50 Shades of Grey was just going to be a laughable throwaway film. Just the way we get to come here. Excuse me, Gus Van Sant wants to direct this? Are you kidding me? Like, people who appear in his movies get Oscars. So, like, if he takes it, what type of cast is... I never thought anybody legitimate would want to be in this movie. But if you get a Gus Van Sant, and now we're hearing that Wright is going to maybe get this thing? The guy who did Atonement, the guy who did Pride and Prejudice, like this thing just keeps boggling my mind that giants like this want to do a movie like this, because once you get a director like this in, the caliber of the cast, of the potential cast, goes up about 7 notches. You're going to get now big A-list actors who want to be in this. Universal isn't going to have to go out and beg stars to be in this movie. They're going to have lineups at their door wanting to be in this, and who would have thought that 2 months ago? Not me. So, I mean, look, Joe Wright is a great director. There's no way around it. He is a fabulous director. Him or Gus Van Sant, whoever they go with, obviously the caliber of director is going to be huge. So this all bodes very, very well for 50 Shades of Grey and people who are into scandalous girly sex.
And if it's Van Sant, let's keep in mind, he could probably get Robin Williams for the chapter about the furry sex.
There we go.
Just saying.
All right, folks, listen, we've come to that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. Crystally's got a bunch of other items in the world of movie news in front of her. She's going to go through them, and then Dan and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Crystally, what do we got?
The sequel to the hit film 300 Rise of an Empire, was all set to hit theaters in 3 months. But now Warner Brothers has decided to push the film back to March 7th, 2014. John, buy or sell, moving the movie back 7 months.
Sell.
Yeah.
I sell this. Look, it's never... When you're waiting to the last second and then suddenly push it, that means something's wrong. But when you take a movie that you had slated for a summer release and then go, oh, wait a minute, this isn't good enough for a summer release. Let's move it to March of next year. Yeah, that's not a good sign. I sell. What about you, Dan?
I buy it because I feel like the idea of stretching out the good stuff, hoping that this is going to be a good, at least as far as an action movie goes, because Warner Brothers has Man of Steel coming out this year that I think really is where people's attention should be focused. So rather than dilute it by having, 300 come out right after it, I like the idea of spreading it out. Now, you're probably right. It probably is an indication that it sucks. But either way, I think I'd rather wait 7 more months to find out that it sucks.
All right.
300 Rise of an Empire isn't the only film Warner Brothers has moved. The March 7th, 2014 date, which 300 just moved to, was going to be the release date for the Tom Cruise film All You Need Is Kill, which will now open on June 6, 2014. Based on a Japanese novel, the film is described like this: there's only one thing worse than dying. It's coming back to do it again and again. When the alien Gatai invade Kiji Karaya is just one of many raw recruits shoved into a suit of battle armor and sent out to kill. Kiji dies on the battlefield only to find himself reborn each morning to fight and die again and again. On the 158th iteration, though, he sees something different, something out of place. The female soldier, known as the Bitch of War, is the bitch the key to Keiji's escape, or is it his final death? John, buy or sell All You Need Is Kill, moving from March to June?
I buy this because you're taking a film from a not great release date like in March, and you're saying this thing is good enough to stand up to the summer tentpole films. We're going to put this in the summer release dates. I think that shows great confidence in this film, and so for that, the same reason that I went against the 300, this shows confidence in the film. So for me, it's definitely a buy. Dan?
I buy it because if history has proven anything, it's that too much Tom Cruise is just too much. And I loved him in Oblivion. He totally changed my perception of him. He's back to being an actor and doing some good stuff. So I like the idea of not doing it right after. Like, give us a little bit of time. And just a side note, the Bitch of War, is that the character's name?
Yeah.
That's actually my dog when he doesn't get his third walk for the day. Just putting that out there.
Disney Animation has confirmed their first Marvel film, Big Hero 6, which will hit the AMC theaters everywhere November 7th, 2014. Big Hero 6 is an action comedy adventure about brilliant robotics prodigy Hiro Hamada, who finds himself in the grips of a criminal plot that threatens to destroy the fast-paced, high-tech city of San Francisco. With the help of, that's a great name. With the help of his closest companion, a robot named Baymax, Hiro joins forces with a reluctant team of first-time crime fighters on a mission to save their city. John, buy or sell Big Hero 6?
Buy. Now, I'd much rather see Disney and Pixar be doing an Incredibles 2, granted, but Big Hero 6 is really kind of cool. Now, I don't know how they're going to do it in the cartoon, but like in the comic books, they got their beginnings with the Canadian superhero team Alpha Flight. That's where they come out of. And also, like, some of the original members of Big Hero 6 are guys like Silver Samurai, which we're going to see in the Wolverine film, and guys like Sunfire, whose real name was Shiro Yoshida, who plays a major role in the Age of Apocalypse storyline. So I think this sounds really cool. I love that they're going to try an animated approach with this, with some of their Disney properties. I think this sounds great. So for me, it's a buy. Dan?
Well, first of all, the San Francisco, I really thought that was an autocorrect issue. Like, I just tried to recently text chicken and waffles, and it came out childbirth and waffles. And I thought, autocorrect. I thought that's what that was. But it sounds interesting. I get nervous when it comes to Marvel animation going to like a big screen type of thing. That, for me, I like to focus on the live action stuff. And I just don't have the background and the knowledge of the material. So I'm just not sure.
Okay.
I just want to go to San Francisco.
Yes, seriously.
So I'm ready. Veteran actor William Fichtner from The Dark Knight and Entourage has joined the cast of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Many are speculating that Fichtner will play the iconic role of Shredder. John, buy or sell William Fichtner joining Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I want to buy this because Fichtner is awesome and playing Shredder, but I have to sell it.
No.
Because if other reports are to be believed, in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we're not getting Shredder. We're getting some military guy named General Schrader and his secret military troop called The Foot, not the ninja assassin group The Foot. Everything about this is wrong. So unfortunately, even though it's William, who I think is awesome, for me it's got to be a sell. What about you, Dan?
I also have to sell for the same reasons. I mean, I love this guy. Did you remember the scene in Go when he's in the bedroom and he's trying to come on to Jay Moore wearing nothing but boxers and trying to get him into selling Amway? I mean, he goes from that to being in The Dark Knight. That man is amazing. He's great. But I just don't see him at all in this part, and I can't imagine the movie being good. So I say just no, skip that.
I think I'm the only one who buys it because I just want to see another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Okay. It has been announced that Vince Vaughn will be joining the new Will Ferrell comedy Daddy's Home. Daddy's Home is the story of a mild-mannered radio executive, Ferrell, who strives to become the best stepdad ever to his wife's 2 children. But complications ensue when their freewheeling, freeloading real father, played by Vaughn, arrives, forcing stepdad to compete for the affection of the kids. John, buy or sell Vaughn joining Daddy's Home?
Look, I'm going to buy this, but not because of the synopsis of the film, because it sounds stupid, but it's Will Ferrell and Vince Vaughn together. Now, Vince Vaughn hasn't really been on his game a lot lately, but I still think putting Ferrell and Vaughn together, I think there's a lot of potential there for some really good stuff. So on that basis alone, for me, it's a buy. Dan?
Yeah, same for me. I'm going to buy it because hopefully some time with Will Ferrell might save Vince Vaughn and remind him what it means to be funny. So if nothing else for his own edification, I say go for it.
All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Dan. Really appreciate it. Where can people find you once again?
You can visit us at thecinnamasource.com or follow us on Twitter at thecinnamasource.
All right, thanks a lot, Dan. Well, listen, folks, it's that time of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you would like us to address on the show, simply email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. We get a lot of email from you guys every day, but we pick a few out of the mailbag to address on the show. Get yours on the air. Chrisley's got a few of them pulled out. So, Chrisley, what's in there?
I do. Ben Hibbert writes in, "Hi, I've been watching your show for a few months now, and I love it. I watch it every day. Myself, like John, has Man of Steel at the top of my most anticipated movies of the year.
Yes.
I'd like to ask if you believe that there would ever be a possible Smallville movie with the same cast. This would be following on from the final episode of season 10 when we see Clark, Tom Welling, become Superman."
Thanks a lot for the question, Ben. This is something in slightly different forms is a question that comes up an awful lot about the Welling version of Smallville. No, there will never be a movie version of this ever. And I don't think there ever should be. Look, I was a fan of the show. I liked it. I watched even the crappy seasons. I watched them all the way through. You know, Dan and I were actually just talking about, Dan, what was the name of the dude who played Green Arrow?
Justin Hartley.
Justin Hartley. We were talking about how much we liked that character, at least me at first. And so I really liked the show. But here's the thing, and I got to keep explaining this to people who are fans of the show. Smallville was not Superman. The creators of the show described it as like an Elseworld version. It's like an alternate universe's version of Superman. Because when you look at what Superman is and what Smallville, those are two different things. It's like a created, made-up world, and it was great for what it was. Why can't we as fans just enjoy it for what it was and acknowledge it's not actually Superman? It's different. And now I'm sure you could get the cast back. I mean, I think Tom Welling, I could be wrong about this, but I thought I saw him serving milkshakes down at the local Carl's Jr. He's not doing a lot these days.
Oh,
and
no.
I say that as I'm so disappointed. I like Tom Welling an awful lot, actually. I was so disappointed that he wasn't able to transition into a movie career when he tried, because I thought he had all the talent in the world, and I wish he had a much bigger career than he does right now, but he doesn't right now, which is unfortunate. Also, keep this in mind. A lot of people think Smallville was this super awesomely popular show, but it wasn't really when you compare it to what really are big popular shows. As a matter of fact, the series finale was one of the biggest rated shows they ever had in that series. Like the absolute finale of the show had like 3 million viewers. It was one of the biggest episodes they've ever had. Well, keep this in perspective. That biggest episode they ever had wouldn't have even cracked the top 15 rated shows that week. Not even in the top 15, and that was their biggest show ever. So I don't think the popularity is there for it to succeed as a movie, but also here's the bigger issue. Man of Steel is coming. Yes. That's Superman. And we're not going to have two versions of Superman on the screen at the same time. So for all those reasons, while maybe 5 years ago I might have thought a little bit differently, no, unfortunately we're never going to see him. But here's hoping that we do see Tom Welling make a resurgence in his career, because I think the dude is just too talented not to be on the screen.
Matt McQuaid writes, "Hey guys, love the daily movie banter. Being from Scotland, I'm naturally intrigued by the idea of the Highlander reboot, and since there's not been much news on it recently, I was wondering if it's still on the cards. And is Ryan Reynolds still attached to star? Personally, I can't see him in this role, which is no criticism of him as he is a great leading man. It's just that I don't think he would be believable as a guy who has essentially been kicking about for centuries. Christian Bale would be my pick. He's easily one of the top dogs in Hollywood right now and is one of the few guys who can reliably adopt new accents when required, which would be a strong asset to this project." John?
Thanks a lot for the question, Matt. As far as I know, yeah, the Highlander reboot is still moving forward. The original Highlander film is one of my top 10 all-time favorite movies. People always look at me strange when I say that, but the original one is one of my all-time favorites. Highlander 2 is one of the top 5 worst films ever made. But anyway, no, I disagree with you. I don't think Christian Bale's a good fit. I just don't see him as the Highlander at all. But at the same time, as big of a fan as I am of Ryan Reynolds, I agree with you. I love Ryan Reynolds. Everybody knows I love Ryan Reynolds. I don't think he's a good fit for this either. The trailers are really going to have to sell me on this when they eventually happen. But this is another great example. If you have two great talents, Christian Bale and Ryan Reynolds, and it's not always just about talent, it's about fit. And just for me personally, I don't really see a fit with either of those. The guy I wouldn't mind seeing, who I think could be a decent fit, is actually Taylor Kitsch. I could see Taylor Kitsch playing that role. I mean, I could be dead wrong on that, but that's just who pops up into mind.
Anthony writes, "I am probably your biggest fan in the universe. Now on to my question. The Harry Potter franchise is the most successful franchise of all time, and it ended in 2011 with a total of about $7.5 billion. And I don't believe WB would just let that huge cash cow end. So, do you think that WB will reboot or remake Harry Potter or continue the story with the kids of Harry, Ron, and Hermione? What do you think WB will do with Harry Potter and Friends? Because I don't think Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 was the last of them."
This is a really interesting question. Here's what I believe. Like J.K. Rowling said, we're done.
Yeah.
WB actually cannot do anything with Harry Potter without J.K. Rowling's okay. That is a part of the deal. I mean, she's in charge of Harry Potter, and while WB has the movie rights, they actually can't move on doing anything without J.K. Rowling's okay. So the real question is not, will WB do something? Because they would do it in a heartbeat. The question is, will J.K. Rowling's do anything? That is the question. Now, J.K. Rowling's just put out another book. What was it called? I remember it had like a red cover or something. Maybe it was called Red. Maybe it's called J.K. Rowling's Other Book. That's what it should have been titled. J.K. Rowling's Other Book. she says no, but here's what I believe. I believe at some time in the future, she's going to come to a moment of zen where she realizes, you know what? Getting $1 billion check a week was fun. I liked that. That has a lot of upside. I think I'm going to do that again. And maybe write something. Now, at that point, can you get the cast back? I mean, I think you can get Harry Potter back. He's having a little bit of a hard time really breaking out of that Harry Potter mold that everybody else has put him in, which is unfair to him. But Hermione, she seems to be kind of taken off as an actress. She might be difficult. The question will become, does J.K. Rowling want to do it? And then can she get the cast back? I'm going to side with you and agree, yes, there's too much money on the table. I think within 5 years, although I'm not really convinced about this, but I think we will see another Harry Potter book and then maybe another movie. We'll see.
I think it'd be great to see their kids go back to school. It'd be amazing.
Might be interesting.
Zach Brigman writes, hey guys, I love the show and eagerly anticipate what each discussed topic will be while I wait to view it at night. John, keep up the amazing insight. You rock. My question is, with the possibility of Robert Downey Jr. leaving his role as Tony Stark soon, do you think that if Marvel decides against the extreme measure of killing off Iron Man, that we will see Chris Evans as Captain America take the leadership role? Or will Iron Man remain the definitive leader with a new actor at the reins? I know a lot of people were upset that Captain America wasn't the Avengers leader, although the decision made sense since Iron Man was clearly the more popular, successful character. What are your thoughts? Thank you for the show and keep up the great work.
Thanks so much for the question, Zach. First of all, there is no way Marvel is ever going to kill off Iron Man. Iron Man is one of the centerpieces of the biggest, most successful franchise they have going right now in the Avengers. So no, Robert Downey Jr. could walk, they'll replace him, and they will keep Iron Man. That there's no way they're going to mess up their biggest cash cow that they have. Okay, so that out of the way. Zach, I gotta disagree with you, man. Captain America is the leader of the Avengers. I'm not quite sure where you get that Iron Man was, because when it all came down, first of all, you had Nick Fury go to Captain America. We need you to save the world. Like, they brought him in. Like, when you see Agent Coulson with him, they understand he's the guy they revere. It's Captain America. He's the one they all revere. And when it comes down to it, when the final big battle all starts to happen in the city, who does everybody turn to? They all turn to Captain America. So because there's that one great scene where they're all standing in the street, and even Tony defers to him and says, Cap, like, what do we do? And Captain America gives each of them their marching orders. Tony, you go do this. You get up on that roof and you do this. And then finally, one of the best lines in the movie, Hulk, smash. I mean, so like, it's very, very clear that the leader of the Avengers is Captain America. And that is the way it should be, and that's the way it'll continue to be. You are right, though. Obviously, Iron Man is the most popular of the characters. Box office numbers will tell you that. But I think, to me, it was clearly him. So if Tony Stark, if Robert Downey Jr., leaves Iron Man, and that, I think he'll be back for Avengers 2. I do. I really believe they'll find a way to make that happen. But if he's not there, they will keep the Iron Man character. They'll just replace the actor, and Captain America will continue to be the leader of the Avengers.
Henry O. Wright, will we ever see a sequel to Reign of Fire? This could be another box office hit for Bale. Why hasn't anyone brought this to his attention? I'd rather see him in this than The Terminator.
Hey, Henry, it's funny you mentioned that. Me and a buddy of mine were actually talking about some underrated films. Like, I actually like Reign of Fire. This is the first movie that I really went, Matthew McConaughey is a badass. That's the first movie. I remember the first time he came back, because we never thought of him as a big guy before that movie. And the first time, the scene where he comes out of the tank and he's got no sleeves on and his arms are like this big, we're like, what the hell happened to this guy? Like, how did he suddenly become a bodybuilder? But that was kind of cool. But, Henry, the reality was nobody else liked the movie. It has both a rotten rating for critic rating and audience rating, and it lost the studio money. So it's not a hit. It lost money for the studio. Not enough people saw it. Critics didn't like it. A lot of the audience didn't like it as well. So no, I don't believe there is ever a chance that we're going to see, even though you and I seem to like it, I think we're the only ones. I don't think there's a chance that we're ever going to see a Reign of Fire 2. Well, listen, folks, that'll do it for us. We've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. But before you do anything else, and while I've still got you, take a second and click that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news and, of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. And go on out and see a movie tonight. Go on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater and showtime and movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll see links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio podcasts. Once again, click that subscribe button. I want to thank the now departed Mr. Dan Deevy from thecinemasource.com for joining us. Our lovely host, Miss Chrysalie Kennedy.
Thanks for having me.
And most of all, thanks to you guys. Listen, the most important part of this show is not what we have to say, it's what you have to say. Please make sure to jump down to the comments section and leave your thoughts on any or all the comments and the topics that we discussed here today. So until then, my name's John Campia, and until Monday, bye-bye.